Okay, so we're going to talk about when your opponents castle Queenside in the Honeybadger. So let's just set up a normal position. Set up a position real quick. It's going to want to take the center here, 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 here. Now here. Okay, opponent does this, and he hasn't castled Kingside yet. There's a good chance he's going to castle Queenside. So you have a couple of options here. Uh, Two moves, each I like. I'll show you the first one is this move. What this move does. Castle's queenside, you have this move immediately. Okay? Take. Now, if he takes it with the knight right off the bat, you've got this. If he tries to trap your rook, you've always got this. And if he decides to take it with the bishop, here, same idea here. And once again, you've got this pawn here. And once again, if he tries to trap, you've got this move always. That was that move. I also got the option to play this move. Now, we're threatening to hop in and attack this bishop. I did a video series on why grabbing this white bishop here is important. So I'm not going to go into it right now. So, just depends. If he goes ahead and castles, we got this move immediately. This move might not look like much here, but it's dangerous if they don't handle it correctly. If he tries to save this bishop a lot of times, he's going to wind up losing a piece. Understand something important. This queen and king are on the same diagonal. Okay? So now my knight's hopped in. What do? First, let's say he lets you take the knight. Let's say he chases the knight away and he doesn't care if you trade it. He's not going to try to protect it. Now, he's got to take like this. He has to take like this. If he doesn't take like that, if he recaptures this way, you've got this shot. Here, 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 and here. And you're winning. We hop in. He tries to save his bishop now. He goes there. We've got this move. And understand from this point, it's always going to be that problem of anytime I capture this bishop and he has to recapture with the queen, he's always going to run into this check. Okay? So at this point, there's nothing protecting his bishop unless he wants to lose his queen. So what does he have to do? In this position, if he tries to save the bishop, the game is over. I mean, the game is literally over. If he drops the bishop back here, thinking he's going to protect it, the game is over. Here, you hit him with this, and there's no way for him to save his queen. Best move here is just to give up the queen. Just to give up the queen. I mean, that's the best move there. I mean, what do? You can't block here because this knight, this silly knight that was sitting here, this silly knight controls both of these squares. And so you lose there. You're going to lose the queen anyway there. If you try to jump the knight in here, once again, this knight here. So as you see, if he tries to save the pawn, if he tries to save the bishop at this point by dropping it back, he's going to lose his queen. But he's got to do something, right? Because he can't just let me take it, because if he lets me take it, he's going to lose a piece. So I mean, this position right here, I mean, it's simple as this position looks. It's relatively safe as this position looks. Black has problems. So I mean, honestly, it looks like, I mean, you could drop the knight back, or you could play this. Then you got this. We know you can't recapture with the queen because of the pin, so you got to take this way here. And now, how does he open any lines over here? The only pawn break he's got is that, and we've got this square covered what? One, one, two, three, four times we've got this square covered. You know. Okay, so we've gone over both of those moves and ideals behind them and some of those things. Um, so let's say he doesn't let you jump in. Let's say before he castles, he plays h6. Okay. Okay, now you got the best of both worlds. Now we can play here. Opponent continues with his plan. We continue with ours. Now, once again, I mean, look at the position. King is here. He's safe. He's in the center for now. He can stay in the center, but in 1 second, the king can be over here if he needs to be. That's the first thing. The next thing, look at these squares. I'm going to draw a little, just going to have a little fun here. Now, you look at these squares. You look at that diagonal right there. This barrier we've created. Each one of these squares we control 4 times. It's not going to be easy for Black to orchestrate his pieces in such a way that he can make a pawn break without losing a pawn. Not only will he lose a pawn, any pawn break he makes, he's just going to be improving the position of my pieces as well as losing a pawn. Or the position of our pieces as well as losing a pawn. Now, where's Black's counterplay going to come from? You know, he's going to try to open up lines in the center. Or he's going to try a pawn break on this side. Let me show you one thing. Let me show you one defensive resource. You should never be afraid of this. Here, 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 and finally here. You're completely safe. Now, having said that, if he's ever able to get this bishop in here and trade it off for our bishop, we went over this when we were talking about hunting the bishop. This structure becomes really weak, and then we get into some trouble. Then it gets dangerous. Okay, that's why we want to get rid of this bishop. In this position, you're relatively safe. Let's say he drops his knight back here. Then he can do something like this and something like that. You know, but it takes time. He could try stuff like this, but we're never going to capture back. We're just going to hold fast. And if he ever captures, we're always capturing here, and his file gets opened up. All he's doing is opening up a file. If he tries this idea, I would say simply do this. Captures, that's fine. The ideal, well, it's always going to be, the ideal is always going to pretty much be, whenever he's castled Queenside, we're always going to want to keep the center and the king side closed. We're going to want to keep lines on the center and the king side closed. Okay? And understand, look at this position. Okay? Remember, we gave Black what, 3 moves in this position? Didn't we? We let him drop the knight back. We let him play the bishop up. I mean, we let him play the pawn up, and we let him play his other pawn up. We gave him 3 moves in this position. And look at our position. Look at our position. You know, it's crazy. And why is that? It's because the fundamental ideal, I think, behind the Honeybadger is just this. What we're doing is this. We're building a fortress here in the opening, okay? What I'm saying is this position, you can have 10 free moves if you want. You can't hurt me. You know, this is my bastion. You come get me. You come get me. We're sitting here waiting. You come get me. You know, the only weakness is here. You got to be careful about that. But everywhere else is sound and solid. You know, sound and solid. Meanwhile, let's talk about some of our plans from this position. Okay, it's black to move. What does black do? We've already gone into why taking this pawn is bad. So if he doesn't take, he can ignore it. We kind of already looked at this type of move here. Or he can embark on the other ideal, which I said, which was to drop the knight back here, with the ideal of playing here and here. And that's fine. I would probably say, I mean, you have options here, you know. I mean, you can dislodge the knight, put the knight on a somewhat passive square, or you can just right away open up lines. The bishop can retack, and you say, well, the bishop's coming here. But once again, we've got here covered once, twice. If we ever need to, we can always push the pawn or defend bishop here. You know, so that's nothing to worry about. What's more important is after he captures here, I think our next move is here. Followed by here. And it seems somewhat cavemanish, but it's not like I don't expect the guy to see that we're threatening mate in one move. Well, we're not even threatening mate because his queen protects the square, but it's not like I don't expect the guy to see the threat. I move here to tie down the queen. Down the road, tactics will pop up based off the fact that the queen is tied to this square. Also, see, we still have c4 in the bag. This pawn never disappears. There's just more pressure coming down the pipe on this square. Your attack's already opening up. You don't want to play this c4 move and allow him to open this up with this battery of his own until maybe if this knight isn't here, then yeah, that becomes an option because the knight's coming in here. But you don't want to open that up unless you have really good. You don't want to let him open that up unless you have really good reason to do so. Okay, you don't want that to happen. You're just giving him counterplay down the middle. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so I think that was it. The basic things I want you to take away from this video are this. First, defensively, this diagonal in conjunction with these pieces and the pawns form a barrier that's going to be very difficult for your opponent to push past through. It's going to be very hard for him to orchestrate his pieces to create a break. It's the first thing I want you to know. Also understand, I'm not going to set it up completely, but in positions like this, and say he has a rook here that can come and attack the bishop instantly, there's nothing to be feared in this position as long as that bishop isn't on the board. You're perfectly safe there. And you got that move next. There's nothing to fear as long as that bishop isn't on the board. The bishop's on the board, then that's a different story, and you have to take that in consideration and think about the position and, make your own decisions from there. Next, what I want you to take away, the fact that this queen and king are both on the same diagonal, this diagonal. But understand that as long as this king stays on this square, this diagonal is full of tactical possibilities. Okay, so I think that's it. Play the Honeybadger, enjoy the Honeybadger, and like I said, if you come up with any improvements or any new ideas, let me know.